My name is Rosie Hackett. I live around the corner there on Old Abbey Street. My first job was packing paper in a paper store. But a few years ago I got a better job as a messenger at Jacob's Biscuit Factory over on Bishop Street. It was very different from my first job because there were over 2,000 women working in Jacob's. And because I was a messenger, I was sent all over the place. And I would get to see every part of the factory. The girls were great, but they worked very hard. And the steam and the heat was something awful. But they were all like me. They needed to bring home a few shillings to keep our families going. I was only in Jacob's a month when the men in the bakehouse went on strike for better wages and conditions. Most of the men had joined the new union run by Mr. Larkin. Mr. Larkin said their conditions were sending them from this earth 20 years before their time. He was right, and the women's conditions were no better. The women decided to go out and support the men. It was exciting, but also a bit frightening because we didn't know whether we would lose our jobs or not. But we had strength in numbers, and we knew if we stuck together, Jacobs would have to listen. And they did that time. And it was around that time I first heard Mr. Larkin speak down inside the factory. I'll never forget it. When he spoke, I thought the ground was actually shaking. He was the most powerful man I ever heard. And the men and the women loved him because they knew he was with them and that he would lead the fight for them. Then I met his sister Delia, and she organised us women into the Irish Women's Workers Union. And we had our office down in Great Brunswick Street. Mrs. Larkin was a great woman. At our first meeting, I remember her saying, "The women of Ireland are weary of being white slaves who pass their lives away toiling to fill the pockets of unscrupulous employers." She used words as big as her brother. Nearly every evening I worked down in Brunswick Street, helping Delia Larkin with pamphlets and signing on new members of our union. But that all changed last summer when the men were locked out and Mr. Larkin was arrested in Sackville Street. It turned into a war, and the police acted like pure savages. And I'll never ever forget what I saw that Sunday. It was like a battlefield. All poor bloody bodies strewn around the street, and they were all innocent people. Most of them not even union people at all. The next day in Jacob's, the workers were very angry and restless. I could sense it was going to boil over. On the Tuesday, Mr. Harris, a supervisor, ordered Phyllis Mann, Mary Reynolds and Gordy Dunn to remove their union badges. They refused and were immediately sacked. Then the women decided to go on strike, and I was proud to be one of them. And by the end of the day, over 300 of us were sacked as well. I'm entitled to be a member of a trade union. Women might not have a vote, but we can be in a union. And I'll fight till the day I die for that right. I never got my job back in Jacob's. During the lockout, I went down and helped Madame Markovich in the soup kitchen that she set up in Liberty Hall. It was terrible seeing how the people suffered, especially the poor little children. It would break your heart to look at them, and their poor mothers struggling to keep them alive. And it was down in Liberty Hall that I first met Mr. Connolly. He was another great man and a great supporter of us women. One night I heard him speaking, and I'll never forget what he said. "The worker is the slave of capitalist society. The female worker is a slave of that slave." And I knew he was right. That's what we were. That's what the women in Jacob's were. And that's why we founded the Irish Women's Workers Union. Because things are going to change. We're never going back.